So, over a year ago I made a video about the best free builds in Naruto Shinobi Striker, but since then a lot of updates have been introduced into the game, changing the meta quite a bit. So I thought it might be a good idea to update that old video with a new one, showing what I believe to be the best free non-DLC builds for each of the 4 classes. So if you're a new player just getting into the game or someone who just doesn't feel like spending a lot of money on characters, then this video is perfect for you. Now then, let's get into the first build. The first class we're gonna be creating a build for is the attack class. For the Jutsu, we're going to be going with Leaf Whirlwind and Almighty Push. The substitution is Clay Clone and the build is finished off with the ultimate Planetary Devastation. For the summoning, I recommend the Hawk. And when it comes to your weapon and ninja tool, it'll honestly depend on what you've managed to snag from the exchange shop with your scrolls. Everyone's inventory is a little different, so go with whatever feels right for you. Personally, I'm running Adamantine Claws for the weapon and Flash Medicine as my ninja tool. And as for the outfit, well, this is the drip I'm rocking, but again, feel free to customize based on your own gear. Now, let's break down why this build works so well. Starting with Leaf Whirlwind. On paper, it might not look that crazy. The damage isn't especially high compared to other attack jutsu, but the key here is the cooldown. It's only 8 seconds. That is ridiculously short, especially in a game where many jutsu take forever to charge. On top of that, Leaf Whirlwind is amazing at closing the gap between you and your target. It gets you in fast, it's hard to react to, and it often forces your opponent to use their sub early, which then lets you stay on them with a lot of pressure. It's also great for a starting combo, especially if you're using any fast melee weapon. Then there's Almighty Push, which is just a classic. Sure, it's not quite as busted as it used to be, but it's still one of the best defensive-offensive hybrid jutsus in the game. If you find yourself getting ganged up on, which happens a lot in most like survival exercise, Almighty Push can instantly clear the space around you and deal solid damage at the same time. You'd be surprised how often it ends up scoring a kill or two when the enemies aren't expecting it and they're low on health. It's great for disrupting the ultimates, breaking guard pressure, or just resetting the situation when things get too hectic. Now, let's talk about the ultimate, Planetary Devastation. And I'll be honest, most of the free attack ultimates are kinda mid. A lot of them are inconsistent, hard to land, or just don't provide enough value for the charge time. Planetary Devastation though, it's one of the most reliable one-shot ults in the base game. It pulls enemies into the air, killing them upon the meteor crashing down, and it can easily catch multiple targets if you aim it at the right person, especially someone grouped up near their team. It's tough to dodge as well, and in 1v1 situation, it's a guaranteed kill if you land it. Definitely a solid pick that almost always gives you some value. So yeah, this build may be free, but don't let that fool you. It's aggressive, it's fast, and it's surprisingly reliable in basically any game mode. Next up, let's look at our range build. For this setup, we're running with Lightning Style Lightning Net and Amaterasu as our 2 jutsu, Lightning Clone as the substitution, and we'll finish it off with C4 Karura as the ultimate. Now, as for the weapon and ninja tool, it again depends on what's in your arsenal, but I highly recommend using something with range. If you're lucky enough to pull it, Detonating Clay is a great choice here. If not, just go with any projectile-based weapon that lets you keep your distance. For your ninja tool, I suggest the Crimson Star. It pairs really well with this setup, and if you have it, it's a great choice. And finally, when choosing your outfit, try to go with something that extends status ailment duration, since this build relies heavily on burn and paralysis effects. Now, the cool thing about range types is that even without any DLC, you can put together a lot of really strong builds. And I'd argue that range is one of the best free classes in the game right now. The build we're going for is what I'd call a combo-focused pressure build. The goal is simple: land Lightning Net to trap your target, and then follow up immediately with Amaterasu, and tack on a few basic attacks or use your ninja tool to finish them off. When you land this combo cleanly, it can dish out massive damage, especially if you weave in Crimson Star during or after Amaterasu to keep the pressure up. The only real downside is that Lightning Net has basically zero tracking, so landing it around can be kinda tricky. That's why the weapon of choice really matters. What you want to do is initiate a light attack combo with your ranged weapon, get a couple of hits in, then use Lightning Net mid combo to lock them down. Then follow up with Amaterasu while they're trapped, and keep the pressure going with your tool or more projectiles. You can also rely on your Lightning Clone for the setup. If the enemy attacks the clone, they'll get stunned, giving you an opening to start the whole combo chain from scratch. And as for the ultimate, C4 Karura is just a solid pick. It has great range, a big blast radius, and a real kill potential if timed right. Use it when the enemy team is grouped up or mid-objective, and you'll often take out multiple targets in one go. It's definitely one of the more reliable ultimates available to free players. Overall, I'll admit, this build is a little more technical and combo reliant than some of the other simpler setups. If that's not your vibe, that you can always swap in something like Twin Birds or an Ink Jutsu for an easier time. But if you like layering effects and squeezing out every bit of damage you can from a single opening, then this build is super satisfying once you get the rhythm down. Alright, now let's focus on the defense class. In terms of the jutsu, we're going to be pairing up Ripple with Sand Shower, using Wood Clone as a substitution and finishing things off with Water Style Super Shark Bomb Jutsu as the secret technique. For the summoning animal, we're going to be going with the Toad this time around. It's a solid pick that can apply pressure and help in chaotic fights. When it comes to our ninja tool, I'd recommend going for Blast Bombs, as they will pair up nicely with Sand Showers. Weapon and the outfit is again kinda up to whatever is available to you. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, defense types don't have it exactly easy when you're working with just the base game jutsu. A lot of the early moves that were strong back in the day have either been completely outclassed by later DLCs or have an obvious counter that can make them harder to rely on. Sand Shield is a perfect example of this. What used to be a go-to defensive option is now far less consistent thanks to how fast and hard opponents can break through it. That leaves us with a little bit of a limited toolkit, but it doesn't exactly mean you can't still put together a solid and effective build. Ripple is a fantastic jutsu that deals decent damage while also pulling your opponent towards you. That can be super useful in objective based modes, like pulling an enemy off a capture point, or when you want to chain into a melee combo. It's disruptive, quick to activate, and gives you a lot of control over a fight. Sand Shower might seem like an underwhelming thing on paper, but it actually has some great utility. The activation time is very short, making it excellent for catching enemies who are slightly distracted or standing still. It's especially effective in tight spaces or when multiple players are bunched up together. On top of that, it's great for crowd control and contesting areas in base or combat battle, where forcing enemies to scatter can make all the difference. Finally, the ultimate Water Style Super Shark Bomb Jutsu is in my opinion the best choice among the free defense class ultimates. It's not necessarily game breaking, but it's a solid offensive move that can be used multiple times per match, if you build meter quickly. It has a large area of effect and deals decent damage, making it useful for finishing off groups or turning the tide during objective skirmishes. So overall, even though the free-to-play defense toolkit is a little bit more limited than other classes, this build brings together disruption, support, and just enough offense to let you hold your ground and make a real impact in any game mode. Okay, let's finish up this video with the build for the heal class. For the jutsu, we're going with Cellular Extraction Jutsu and Chakra Scalpel. The substitution is once again Lightning Style Lightning Clone, and the ultimate we're going for here is the tried and true Mitotic Regeneration. As for the summoning, we're once again going with the Toad. The weapon and the outfit are totally up to you again. Whatever feels best or gives you helpful buffs, just go with it. But the one thing I highly recommend locking in is the Healing Seal as your ninja tool. Now, this build is not one of those aggressive offensive style heal builds you'd bring into survival exercise. This is a full-blown team support loadout, and honestly, it's exactly what most teams are missing when you're solo queuing. In 80% of your matches, your teammates are all going to run damage-heavy, selfish builds and completely ignore the healing role. And that's where you come in to completely change the tide of the game. Cellular Extraction is easily one of the best healing juices in the game, even compared to DLC options. It has great range, a fast activation, and heals a huge amount of health for your nearby teammates. Think of it like a boosted healing tag with a wider safety net, absolutely clutch during extended brawls or when reviving momentum. Chakra Scalpel might not deal massive damage, but that's not the point. It's a disruption tool. It disables enemies' jutsus for a few seconds if you land it, and that's incredibly valuable in a teamfight. Shutting down an enemy attacker or defender for even a few seconds can be the difference between winning and getting wiped out. Plus, it has decent tracking and cooldown, making it a reliable poke option when you need it. And of course, we've got Mitotic Regeneration as the ultimate. This jutsu is still one of the best full team heals in the game. It works across the entire map, instantly restoring a huge chunk of health to all allies and healing you completely. You don't even have to be in the middle of a fight to make a major impact. Just activating this ultimate at the right time can completely turn the tide of a battle. So yeah, this build is all about support and healing. It might not be the most exciting aggressive setup, but if your goal is to win games and climb ranks in something like Ninja World League, then this kind of build is exactly what you need. Especially in combat battle, having a dedicated healer like this on your team is game changing. And that's all of the builds I have for you today. Hopefully some of these will help you guys out. Let me know in the comments what your go-to build is if you're a free-to-play player, or you can just let me know in general. I'll see you all later. Bye!